So a nice person sent me a Chinese harmonica in the post. I thought I'd give it a play and compare it to my harmonica and another budget harmonica to see what all the fuss is about. You know, as someone who spends a long time working on their own harmonicas, if someone says they've made an amazing harp that doesn't need any work, then that's quite exciting, so I want to see what that's like. I'm not going to get super technical in every micron of detail, but this is more like a pro musician and harp player's view of what I like in a harmonica, because maybe some of those things are what you like as well, so it might be of help to you. We're going to talk about the look and feel of the harps, the build, airtightness and general sound, the workability, can I take the harp apart and tune it and tweak it, do I even need to, price and availability, and at the end of the video I will tell you the single most important thing that's going to influence the decision. So I've got 3 harmonicas here. The Blue Storm was sent to me by a nice man from the internet. The custom harp I made myself out of a deluxe, probably 1 or 2 years old, that I've customised. The Big River was given to me by my friend Sonia, who knows nothing about harmonicas.
I don't know anything about harmonicas.
She said it's hardly been played, and it was pretty clean when I got it, so I suspect she's probably telling the truth. First up is the Conjurer Blue Storm Super Harp that I got sent. Next up is a Hohner Big River, and here's a Hohner Marine Band Deluxe. Big River's the longest, the Blue Storm is in the middle. The Marine Band's shorter. I never knew that. Who cares about the length? Does it even matter? So let's take a look at the overall look and feel of each harmonica. The Blue Storm is solid. It's kind of like heavy. It's almost a bit, it reminds me of a Seidel or even an East Top. It's kind of chunky. Maybe not quite as chunky as an East Top. And you feel like if you threw it at someone from 20 yards away, you might knock them out with it. It's really solid. The Big River's a little bit like a slightly budget version of a Special 20. Much lighter, plastic comb, feels like thinner plates. The whole thing just feels a bit lighter. My Custom Deluxe feels somewhere in the middle, not quite as light as the Big River and not as solid as the Blue Storm. What about the marketing? Hohner described the Big River like this. Imagine sitting on a paddle steamer, slowly floating down the Mississippi. The sun is shining and you look over the rail while there's music playing. The Big River harp perfectly captures the spirit of the Mississippi Delta, freedom and tranquility, hence the name. It's the perfect starting point for your first expeditions into the world of Western, folk or Nashville-style country. The Conjurer Blue Storm has quite a unique description. 10-hole harmonica or blues is a kind of harmonica. The blues harmonica features 2 reeds in each comb hole, producing 2 different sounds, absorb and blow. The blues harmonica is characterised by its strong imitation, a beautiful tone with a hint of grief and its unique bend notes. My own custom harp doesn't have a description, so I'm going to make one up. Imagine sitting on a narrowboat, the moorhens chirping away, or whatever sound they make. The tranquil water passes by like the endless stream of musical notes. The barge special harnesses the spirit of the London Canal system, a voyage out of the city and beyond. Let's talk about build, airtightness and just initial playability with the Blue Storm, single notes. All the notes are very clear on the blow. All the notes play. How about the Big River? Single notes. Okay, the single notes are playing, but there's a noticeable difference there. The harp feels a lot leakier on the single notes, especially on the draw notes. I'm really having to work to get those single notes. On the custom harp, of course, I didn't really need to try the custom harp for single notes. I thought I would do it anyway. But of course, this is the thing with out-of-the-box harps, especially on the cheaper end, that when you buy a harmonica, you're not guaranteed that all the notes will play. So how about the out-of-the-box tuning without any tweaking? With the Blue Storm, I want to test my chords first, just as a general. Sounds fine. It could be the tiniest bit sweeter on the blow chord. How about a draw chord? It's pretty nice. I believe the Blue Storm is tuned to something called a 19 limit. If you don't know about this, don't worry about it. So the chords are sounding pretty good. Let's test that against the chords of the Big River. Not too bad. Blow chords and draw chords, both sounding quite nice. Nothing radically out of tune on the chords. And my custom harp. Blows sounding pretty sweet. Draws sounding okay. I think I tuned this last about 6 weeks ago, so I would want to go and tune that a little bit more. What about a quick tuning test of the octaves? With the Blue Storm, I'm going to do blow octaves. So I would say 3 of those blow octaves are quite out of tune. The rest are okay, so not too great. Draw octave. That's the 1 and 4 draw. Little bit out. What about the higher holes? Pretty good on the draw splits actually, so the blow splits there are going to need some work. So how about the Big River? Blow octaves. Some of them a little bit out, maybe slightly better than the Conjurer. Draw splits. Not bad on the 1-4. How about the higher split? Having to work hard to get them out, but the tuning is pretty decent on the Big River. And my custom harp. Very presentable. And the draw split. And the higher. Maybe one of those draw splits needs a tiny bit of work, but this harp has been tuned quite a lot by myself, so I definitely expect this to be the best one, even though it was probably 6 to 8 weeks when I tweaked it last. So the next important point is workability. Can I take the harp apart and work on it? Well, of course I can work on all the harmonicas. So Hohner harps have brass reeds. The Conjurer harp has phosphor bronze reeds, as do a lot of other harmonicas like Suzuki, I believe, have phosphor bronze. After seeking the opinions of 3 top harmonica customizers in the world, 2 favoured working on brass reeds, and the other one said phosphor bronze can be manipulated in the same way. But there does seem to be a slight leaning to say brass is easier to work on than phosphor bronze. Of course, that raises the question, if the harmonica is so good out of the box, do you even need to take it apart to tune it, tweak it and work on it? Please do let me know in the comments. Have you tried any of these harmonicas? Obviously you haven't tried my harmonica. Have you tried the Conjurer Blue Storm or a Big River? What are your opinions on phosphor bronze versus brass reeds? Right, now it's time to finish with the important stuff. So how do they play? Blue Storm. Feels pretty responsive, nice chord sound. What about the single notes? Those lower draw notes, that's what I really want to be testing on a harp right away to see how they respond. Pretty good. 2 draw, 3 draw, 4 draw. So just in terms of the general reed response, the Blue Storm is responding very well there to single notes. It feels reasonably tight and well built. And the Big River. So the notes are playing on the draws, but I'm having to work a lot harder to get the notes out there. Chords sound fine, but the whole thing just seems to be lacking a bit of air tightness. The Deluxe Custom. Yeah, the draw notes are right there, very strong and responsive. So one of the most crucial things when you buy a new harmonica, if you're the sort of person that doesn't want to work on it, how do the notes bend? How does that feel? Do they bend easily? If I take the Blue Storm, I'm going to take the 2 draw. The bend is there. I'm having to work. It feels very responsive. I think the work I'm having to do is mostly because it's phosphor bronze reeds, which do just take a bit more power to get them working. That is with a tongue block. If I try the 3-draw. Bends right there, taking it down. So the big river is bendable. It just feels like it's a lot harder to get the bend out. And it just feels a bit breathy on those lower holes. 4's not too bad. Three with the tongue block, I'm losing a lot of power as I get down to those lower bends. Marine Band Deluxe. The bends are right there, super crisp, super responsive. So one thing that there seems to be a market for is to get harmonicas that out of the box you can overblow on. I don't really play overblows. I can just about do one, but it's not really my style. Okay, that works, but that was by accident, I think. What about the big river? I can't overblow that. Maybe someone else could. I don't know. Well, we're here. Let's have a quick test of the blow bends. Here's my harp. All the blow bends there, very strong. How about the Blue Storm? Yeah, pretty good. And the big river? Pretty much there, but I'm having to work harder again. So let's wrap this thing up. The big river plays okay. It feels like the reeds are performing reasonably well, but maybe the build of the harp, it might just be this harmonica, I don't know. You know, if I had 10 to play, maybe that would tell me. Just feels not that airtight, so everything I do, I'm really having to work at it to get the sound out. The chords are there, every note's there, and the tuning is decent, but it's when I really get into the bending, tongue block bending, that I'm not finding those notes. Could it be worked on to make it play better? I guess so. So that leaves the Blue Storm, the Conjurer, the Chinese harp, and my own custom deluxe. Now, I'm not expecting these to be the same, and I know this isn't a fair test because one's been customized, but of course when a new harmonica comes out and someone sends it to me, I'm always interested, you know, could this replace my harmonica? Now there are some crucial differences which I didn't mention. So one of these is the shape of the reed plates, and the Marine Band seems to have narrower plates. So with the Blue Storm, the plates at the front are that bit wider, kind of similar to a Hohner Golden Melody. I think I'm so used to the deluxe and Marine Band shapes that I just really like Marine Band shaped harmonicas. The cover plates tend to be a little bit thinner as well. I've heard other harmonica players say that that makes them feel more responsive in their hand, like they're closer to the music. I can kind of see the point of that. So I think harmonicas are such a feel instrument. You're there holding it in your hand and obviously in your lips, which are sensitive. And I've just got so used to the Marine Band shape. So when I get something new, it kind of feels foreign and a bit strange. So for me, despite the Blue Storm feeling a bit strange to play because of the size and the phosphor bronze reeds, the playability for the price is extraordinary. The harp's responsive, the bends are all there, you can overblow the whole 6, you might be able to overblow the others if you can overblow better than me. Okay, so the tuning needs a little bit of tweaking, but also that's based on my style because I'm a tongue blocker and I play a lot of splits. The tuning is very, very important to me. If you're more of a single note player, you can get away with the tuning not having to be so perfect. Worth mentioning that if the tuning's a little bit off, that's something you can tweak easier than getting the reeds to bend well, which is more of a reed response issue and will take a lot longer. How about the price? The Hohner Big River, about 25 quid off Amazon. The Blue Storm, amazingly, about 25 quid off Amazon. My own custom harmonica, priceless. Now you might think I'm joking, but if you worked out the hours that you put into a custom harp, I would say if you worked out the cost of a Marine Band Deluxe, which is 50 quid or something like that, maybe a bit less, and all the labour, you're talking easily 250 quid for a custom harp. Obviously I do my own, so I save on labour time, but it's still a hell of a lot of time. So will I stop customising harmonicas? I don't think so. There's something about the marine band that just suits my style, the brass reeds. I like that responsiveness, and I can get that by tweaking it. Sure, it's a lot of work, but that playability I get is really important, and the feel. The thinner cover plates just seem to sit in my mouth with a nicer shape. But the Blue Storm is a pretty neat harmonica for the money. Thanks folks, hope the video was useful. If you enjoyed it, take a look at this video.